That's started, is it?
It has started.
Okay, so how are we doing this? Do you want to give an update, or do you want me to do an update first?
You go because I'm still slaving away through code.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so what I've done is, and this has been real fun. Uh, sounds sorry, that sounded sarcastic, but it
Simmer
has
down,
been.
son. Simmer down.
um, okay, so what I've discovered is actually, I was a huge, advocate of ERDs and formal markdown um, descriptions of things. However, um, with the latest drops, it seems that so long as you're consistent, then you can put in quite a lot of information that is consistently used in
Oh, so you're
terms of
saying
correctness,
you don't actually need the ERD so long as you have the logical
consistency.
content that the
Yeah,
ERD would have held, and O1 is capable of
yeah,
working with it.
because exactly because previously I was using the ERD as an adjunct to a logical diagram that had
Mm-hmm.
been defined by someone else,
Mm-hmm.
Mermaid, and now it seems that so long as you're consistent in what you're saying, you get really good results. So what I've done here is put in the diagram. Now the flip side, I guess the downside of that is the diagrams it generates tend to be all over the place. They're logically complex, correct, but they're not easy to consume. However, uh, this, I know, well, you can see there, goes all the way through to the everything we talked about in the legal layer. Now, interesting thing is here. Now, I apologize for using platform. I just wanted to stay away from long for a while. You're messing around with it,
It's all good,
but
man. It's frozen, so you can do whatever you like on there, and it won't
yeah,
harm anything.
you
But
check that out. So this was a prompt about the use of it, and it has started to um, suggest things that we need, or that we've already talked about. Now, let me go a bit. I can share this playground, but this has what I've been doing is so I took in all these definitions, and that's it, nothing else, pure text.
what are you trying to do? Like, what is the purpose of your? What is the
Uh, the
goal?
the goal is so number one is the diagram. The diagram will probably need a manual step in order to actually make it understandable. However,
We're talking about the Dreamcatcher context diagram.
uh, I'm talking about the legal layer, gateways, Dreamcatcher.org, and the Dreamcatcher, you know, function
Seems to
which
me we
goes
might
through
need
it.
to capture what these goals are, because I'm looking at the Miro board with the diagram titled Dreamcatcher context diagram. You're not
Oh no, I've not changed that. No, no, it was too
yet.
analog. Um,
Well,
in
so
that
what's your goal then?
my goal is number one, to properly define what we mean by the legal layer, and therefore we can interrogate the what we need to do, as in
And
server
why
gateway
has it
and so on.
drifted from the goal of creating the Dreamcatcher context diagram?
Because Miro was just being a pain in the arse, to be
No,
honest.
no, no, no. I don't care about Miro. You introduced Miro, but the task was what we need a Dreamcatcher context diagram. Is this
Oh,
still that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The context diagram now is just expressed in text. This is a list of.
Okay, and what was that? What was that sequence diagram you just showed me?
That was generated as the number 2 on my priority list, which is to get narratives of how we'd use this.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's cool. So those were generated.
Yeah, from the text.
That's
Yeah,
pretty neat.
so
Okay. And so,
uh,
the my understanding is the purpose or the what finished means for the Dreamcatcher context diagram is something that we can put up in a blog post. Is that right?
yep, and let me see if we can find it. Is this the one? 2 secs. Yeah, no, that's not the right one. Fucking no, it's not the right one.
Sorry, what are you trying to show me? Like, what's the?
I'm trying to show you. I've asked it to do a blog post, which was pretty good, and I think I've lost it. Doesn't matter. The point being, well, actually, let me demonstrate this because I think you'd like this. Right. Okay, so what we've got here is this is just a straight O1 unprompted that knows about it. And this diagram was generated from a narrative. Now, sorry.
I'm worried that without definition of what the output goals are, we're gonna drift in this thing, and I want to call into question, is this actually the right thing to be doing right now? Because the way it's been going is it feels like I just turn up and say a bunch of abrasive things to you for an hour and a bit, and I'm not sure that is anymore the right thing to do. Like, what it just feels like I'm just always chasing down this diagram or being abrasive about what's in it, and I'm like, well, maybe that's not the right thing to be doing. But in that case, what is?
Okay. Well, there's a couple things there. This is already done, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, done means it's publishable. Is that done?
Yep, and hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate that in a few minutes.
Okay.
The definitions, I think, are complete, correct, and coherent, and so that's runway behind us.
Okay. So you reckon it's finished?
The legal layer, yeah. So
well, hang on. You just introduced that term to me.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago.
No. We were talking about this last time. It's like the context diagram has to do with externalities. It's like other people. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
And so this is what I'm saying. I think I've got the definitions correct that actually define what we mean by.
Okay, so why did you choose the term legal layer? What are the other layers?
Well, we got the legal layer, which is the external world. Then we've got the Dreamcatcher, which is entirely virtual, and the interface between those is important and was touched on with this. So the legal layer is effectively the real world. It's like things like.
Okay, and so is it true that the context diagram is the map of the legal layer?
Yes, that's what the context diagrams are for. Because otherwise you're talking about entity relationship diagrams. So the context diagrams are how the system interacts with the rest of the world.
All right, and you think that stuff is done or done enough that we can put it into a blog post and.
It's it's close enough that it's worth scrutiny to see whether I've got this wrong.
Okay, so how do I scrutinize?
Now, the let me see this. I think scrutinized through. What is it? This might not be the right one. I've got a number of tabs open. We do it through use cases, narratives, which is the second
Okay.
part of what I was doing here.
Okay.
Right,
So is this catching you at a bad time? Like you need some time to tidy it up and put it into, like, get it out
yes,
of Playground and
basically,
into
yeah,
Markdown documents
I
and
need
all
to
that sort of thing.
I need to start it up a bit in order to make it more coherent. But
Okay, but that's
it,
coming. Like you're not hitting issues, or it's not sort of exploding on you in terms of complexity,
no,
all those kinds of
no,
things.
quite the opposite actually.
Oh,
It
so it's
is
grounding. It's
becoming,
starting to reduce down.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, well that's cool. That's exciting.
But yes, I do need a bit of time to tart it up. I'm trying to
Okay,
find
okay. Well
where the
that's
case
fine.
study
I
was.
mean, it's not. I just well, is this the right? This whole legal layer context diagram thing, is that the right thing to be doing at this stage, and why?
Um, well, number one, I think as far as I can see, and I've hammered this against various jurisdictions, SEC law, and so on, and it's come up with a few pointers, all of which we've already discussed over the last God knows how many years. There's no unknown unknowns on this, given those definitions. The definitions are
It's pretty wild, hey.
it's tight.
It's wild
It's
that
tight.
O one knows so much about the world that you can actually ask it cross jurisdictional questions. Like, is there
Yeah.
any Western jurisdiction where the registration of a company cannot, where this model doesn't work, or things like
Yeah.
that? Like, it's insane. And like, I've been using that feature to ask it about the features of package management systems across all languages. Like,
It's
that
the
research project would take, I don't know how
well
long that would take normally.
exactly. Exactly, but the I think the key is, which is why I got so excited previously about ERDs. ERDs are just a structured, logical way of presenting information using text. It turns out that it doesn't actually, the models don't seem to care about what your structure is so long as it's consistent.
Right. Right. So it's the
Um,
underlying logic that they worry about
yeah,
most, not
yeah.
that the ERD just so happened to be. But hang on. Yeah. So why an ERD is good though is because we can run a checker on it.
Yeah.
Like the ERD, the mermaid diagram checker serves to as it makes it be like programming in a way.
Well, this is exactly the next point I was going to make. The what's called legal layer, the real world layer, is a piece of code, and I'll give you an example of this.
No, no, I don't need an example. Thank you. I get it.
Okay,
I get it.
and therefore it is it is checked against some kind of standard, as in does it run via various jurisdictions? Yep, that's fine. So long as you specify it clearly enough, then I think we're good to go. And now I know I don't have a diagram.
That's all right. It sounds like you'll have one soon. So the question remains though, like, yes, you've spent time on this. Yes, you're seeing it start to ground, and you'll be able to deliver this soon. I'm confident. But is this the right thing to be on right now?
Well, as I was saying, I think this is as close to done as I can actually. It's diminishing returns now.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Um,
Right. So it's probably
so
time
it's like
to
let's
sort of
park
package
it.
it up, wrap it up, and
Yeah,
be like, this is the
yeah,
version one. Bang.
yeah. And
All
I
right.
can produce blog posts and all that sort of thing because we're actually coherent. We can also talk to externals, like
Yeah.
we were talking about earlier on, and potentially look at who wants to invest in this and so on.
Oh, right. So I know what the next step would be then is that using the narratives, we would pick one that was like somebody who was just starting a venture, and we would pitch test them using the materials that we have for here, because
Yeah,
we
and
want to hear what
we've got a couple
their
of friends
rebuttals
who
and
are
things are.
exactly in that position, right?
Yeah, right. So we start doing some real world testing on
Yeah,
the model. Okay. For the price of setting up the company and all that, we might as well just do it. But
yeah.
I guess my question to you is, what tooling or what parts of the NAP platform are going to need to be built to handle this?
I've not discovered any more tooling requirements other than those that we've already discussed.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, no, it is, isn't it?
Okay, well, but is this the right thing in general? Like, what are the other things we could be spending our time on?
Well, I think what we've got here is okay. So if we assume the real world layer is exactly the same as code because it's legally controlled, we need to test that. So it's the tests, and I'm not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. The first test would be to see if it's palatable to someone who may want to use it. And the second test is, is there anything we're getting wildly wrong here? But we are getting some advice. Albeit there's always a
Yeah.
disclaimer.
So what? But what other things could we do other than this legal layer?
Well, to be honest, the next thing I really want to get on with is get back on the platform and get the CRM sorted out with using the NAP format.
Yeah.
That's the meaty bit to actually get
That's
cash
the parts
in.
that go. Yeah, cash in,
Yeah,
product out, and all that. But that needs the platform, and I'm slaving my sorry little ass away on it.
yeah. No worries, man. I'm sweating. I'm sweating on this side as well. But,
Sweating the tokens.
I've had 4 hours sleep last night. Uh, the
Mate, that's not good.
No, well, the thing was, I wanted to present something that was, I was actually, genuinely believed was done for my
Oh,
point of
and
view.
so you're at that point.
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty
yeah.
awesome. That's pretty awesome. Okay, well, I'm not trying to detract from that. Like, obviously, this is a vital milestone to get through. What I'm asking is
What next?
no, not what next. What else? Like, have we
How are we
have we have
doing
we
something?
properly, like, we're still not really talking about things terribly much different, even though the NAP platform is a major change. We haven't reevaluated all the things that we think are true or think are correct. We haven't, like, what else
What
haven't
are we
we
missing?
thought about or looked at as a task or an avenue or a path?
That's
Those kinds of things.
that's a that's a hell of a question. That's the unknown unknowns.
No,
Um,
it's not. It's saying that there's a bunch of things that we think are true. We haven't gone through and evaluated all of them critically, given the shift in direction. We
our
haven't,
assertions.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and we haven't gone through and said, well, if we were delivering this JSON function platform in isolation from the Dreamcatcher, what would we do? Because we need to think about that JSON function platform as a important and still project of the Dreamcatcher. So we need to not think about it like the Dreamcatcher, but think about it like a dedicated project or venture. And
Right,
if we were
right,
thinking about
right.
it in that way,
Okay,
and
so
we know that it's being built, right,
yeah.
which is common for projects. So what to do? What would you do next?
So and this came up when I was interrogating this bot based on the definitions. Thing it came up with, I did a comparison with Linux and us. This is kind of the closest comparison we've got. Now, there's a number of differences. Um, the first one is they're more, despite being open source, they are much more centralized in terms of they have a board that includes some major players. Those major players have input into this, and we're saying we want to decentralize the the use of this, um, which has got a number of. I'll not. I'll send you this over a summary, but essentially, what the Linux Foundation have done is they've created a centralized organization that controls influence, but not necessarily licensing. And what we're saying is we've got a format, Dreamcatcher Foundation, let's call it. Um, there might need to be some kind of control over there. So the governance of that seems
No,
important.
I don't think that's important at all in our initial considerations. Those are the concerns of large successful projects. We're looking at this of we got nothing, and we're coming at this literally with nothing but a bunch of experience and ideas. And what should we be thinking about? Should we be actually looking at raising some cash? Should we be looking at um, getting some trademarks? Like if you
Yeah,
looked
I
at
think
this like a starting business, it's like
yeah,
someone's got this bright idea and they're like, "Oh, let's do this thing."
yeah.
What
Right
now?
now, I think it'd be hard to raise cash on this because it is complex. Um,
Well,
and
then that's a problem because
as a,
it means that having the ability to explain what it is, why it's important, how it works, right? Those
no,
are
no, no. Explaining is different from demonstrating. Um, the uh, um, the use cases that I ran through this all make sense, and here's one. An individual, a company, a service provider, and a consumer in different jurisdictions. And I'll send you over a summary of this. There's no problems with that. The structure works. So I think
nah. That's again. That's those are dreamcatcher concerns. Your dreamcatcher concerns need to be thought about like company structure, but product is what we're trying to push out with this
yeah,
platform,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's a
No,
different
no,
line of thinking.
yeah, no. This is what I'm saying. I think what we need to be concentrating on next is demonstrating, um, and that is
No,
different
because
from
that's
raising.
demonstrating is
No, demonstrating as in proving, as in using it with a real set of, like the CRM guys and
no,
so on.
that's right. But I'm asking about the gap in between when we like I'm trying to build this thing, but it's not here now. It has an
Mhm,
unknown amount of time until it's ready. I think it's between 1 and 3 weeks, but
mhm.
I have been wrong many times in the past about how like just because I'm able to with this new model axe
Burp.
huge chunks of tasks that were outstanding or problematic or like I'm about to close like maybe a third to a half of all the tickets in the GitHub repo because of this architectural change. Those are good things, but the flip side is that what new problems will it make? Because as soon as we have more capabilities, we have more problems because then we just hit the next layer of issue. And
Yeah, but I think yeah, no, I agree.
yeah,
And by the way, your time estimates are poor.
oh, because yours is so much better, are they?
My- no, yeah, my time estimates are poor as well because we're doing stuff. I think
At least mine
um,
are sometimes wrong, and I'm quicker.
It's just fucking hard stuff. I think what we need is, or what I'd argue, and I'll put this on the table. We need a tracer bullet through this.
Yes, I
Um,
know that. Look, that's not. I'm sorry, that's not actually the question I'm asking, because that's what obviously I'm trying to make the thing. I'm asking about what happens in between. What's the most wise thing to concentrate our efforts on, where I'm available to talk about it for an hour or two a day plus think about it, and you're available
it's
to work on it
difficult.
all day.
That's a
That's
difficult
really
thing
what I'm asking,
because
because
yeah, there is a bit of a gap there, isn't
there's a
there?
gap, and that's what I'm
Because
asking. That's what I'm asking. And
yeah,
right
you
now
don't.
we're trying to fill it with this context diagram.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I'm arguing is done now. I
yeah.
can
And so
go
what's
round and round, but I think there'll be diminishing returns
yeah,
on that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, the and you're off coding
Slaving.
the slaving the um, perhaps
Yeah,
it's
this
just
is
have
this is the question.
to have yeah. I think this is where the the tar meets the tarmac is to set up the Dreamcatcher.org as a legal entity, Gateway as a legal entity, Robot
Right,
Army, etc.
right.
Um,
And then start.
and and just
Okay,
do it really. And the only precursor to that it would be I wouldn't over-index on this one, but it would be useful to get a traceability over how palatable that is that someone. But everything is honestly everything that I've gone through over the last 3 days, hammering this model
okay. So what?
points to
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
good.
Hang on, hang on.
So,
Here's an interesting test. Then
mhm.
we should be able to generate the web-based content that explains how this venture system's going to work, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so is it um, and then those documents are going to just become part of one of the bots, and the help will be presented to you in band and all that. But in the meantime, what if we made a website or a Shopify site that tried
Mhm.
to sell these venture formation things, and it would be Shopify because you'd need to buy, like, it can't be free because it costs time for us to review and all that. There's some cost, but it'd be small, like £10 or something like that.
Okay. Oh,
So what about putting up a site that tried to sell it and put up some, like, Google ads or some social media
yeah.
ads,
Oh,
and just see
okay.
if anyone's actually biting, and see what their questions are?
Right. I've got a good answer for you. But generating um, websites content dynamically um, is there. The reasoning of O1 with the structured definitions allows us to answer any question that any particular type of consumer wants to do, and also includes the swapping of hats. Now, um, there is one. What was proposed is kind of fallen out of the sky. I think I texted you about this, but I'll go into it about Fiverr. Um, so Fiverr Pro is um, we're now signed up. Marla got signed up through Fiverr Pro in order to provide AI services, and there was a kind of onboarding thing that I went onto and asked a number of questions. But the key question was, what if you made an agreement on Fiverr and then made an agreement off-site? And they're saying, well, as long as you don't do it through the platform, we can't really stop you, and there's nothing in the terms and conditions. And I double checked that. Um, there's nothing to stop someone discovering on Fiverr Pro, and
Yeah.
then
So
that
what's so
is
yeah, yeah. What's the point of that, though?
the point of that is how do we actually use this thing, or what do we um, that gap. So number one is the legal companies. Number two, the website saying it's almost trivial. Um, just put up uh, one prompt there that knows about us and is getting it
Yes.
pretty right. So it's like, well, what's number three? It's like, well, users probably.
Users.
Yeah, I'm kind of struggling because
I know.
I
I
don't
know.
think we've got
I know.
we don't have many hurdles to go. It's like,
Hang on.
like
So one of the good ways to get this going and test it is to actually start a chat group, a Discord chat group of interested people, and we're like, hey, we're setting up this system that does ventures in this way.
mm,
Come and talk to us about it. Ask us questions. Let us, right, and then
yeah, yeah,
that's sort of one way to get some initial users going, because we actually, it's almost like we need initial users way ahead of time, because we might be very wrong about this aspect, this
right,
this
yeah,
onboarding aspect, where it's like, well, if you want to interact with the legal world, you should be able to use the Dreamcatcher network to do that, and to
right,
collaborate with
right.
people
And
without
in the
all
hopper,
this.
we've got maybe five people who know about Dreamcatcher, want to use Dreamcatcher, and
Yeah, but
are at the point.
they all want to use it in different ways, whereas this particular way is about using it as this way. Um, there's
We got
nicer
we got what? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
there's nicer ways to say this, so I'll just say it wrong and then fix it
Yeah.
later.
Don't worry about it, man.
That it wasn't you I was worried about, sir.
Okay.
It was um that in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
where if we imagine that we can make the Dreamcatcher network of companies be truly decentralized and not owned by any central person, what we're really trying to do here is get a number of staff members, and getting people to act as staff members of the Dreamcatcher and go out into the world and represent the company and themselves by way of these ventures that are using trading as or some other type of mechanism. And we're actually, from a distance, trying to ask people to be staff members, where no one's strictly in charge. There's an AI in charge that we all agree on. We can all leave at any time and anyone can join, so long as you agree to be governed by this AI system. But that's a company with staff members, and that's really what we're trying to figure out if it works. All these other people that we've been speaking to, they don't want to be Dreamcatcher staff. They want to be. They want to use
What
it
do you
for
mean?
their
What
own.
do you mean by staff? As in employees with
Well,
national insurance and tax and
employee
HR
equivalence is what I mean in terms of.
advocates, or
No, that's a jack off word. Um, if it's like when you join a company, and even when it's a whopping big one, particularly when it's a whopping big one,
yeah.
you couldn't possibly know everyone in that company, and yet you can communicate with each of them because you trust them. You have a trusted file system, like
Well,
the
there's
network
the interface
drives.
there exists, and you trust in the organization to enforce the standards that you've
That's
been
right.
told about.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And then when you want to go and do a deal with an external entity as the company, you know the process and the procedures by which to do that. We're trying to set up a system that provides all that, but it's very light and very decentralized. And we don't have any, to my knowledge, feedback or testing of anyone using it in that way.
Well, there's one obvious one which I'll not mention on camera as it is, but there's one friendly who's a startup with an idea, aware of Dreamcatcher, wants to use it, but is ignorant enough that we'll get lots of information by, saying, okay, so legally here is where you sign your license agreement, or here is what you do in terms of legalities. So, for example, I'll keep this slightly anonymous. A startup with a great idea wants to do it through Dreamcatcher, needs to sign a contract with a gateway.
Yeah, I feel like I get all that. Pardon my
Yeah,
petulance,
no,
but I feel like I do get all that.
yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, you do. But what I'm saying is testing that against someone who doesn't get that would
Yeah, but
rule
not
out.
not in a not in a direct handheld way, in a mass marketed you found us via social media way, because we don't know. The leads that we have right now are highly filtered. They were
They are.
filtered by hand by us. They were nurtured by hand. People who introduced them were also nurtured by us. So there's really no.
Well, we could. So what you're saying is, people who don't know us turn up, and there's
Yeah, but the
some
message needs
information.
to the message needs to be very brief and very like what Donald Trump did to the American people and the world, where his message was simple, clear, and resonated with them. Obviously, because they all voted for him.
Yeah.
So we need that kind of realm of testing, which is like the what do we call that? It's like the mass market appeal. Because so far we haven't been able to have the mass market appeal testing at all because we didn't even know what the hell we were doing, and we had this like cumbersome ideas and we had these different things, and we're like, yeah, maybe. But now we believe
Isn't
we've
it?
got the context diagram finished.
Isn't
So
as simple as generating uh, um, generating the website content, which we can do and make. Well, that's almost trivial now. Stick up a website that is trivial. Perhaps put a bot up for questions, and then doing a coming soon or register interest thing.
register interest and join the Discord channel, have a chat about it. It's that sort of
Right.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we can do that. Now, those always fail because you stick it up in the wilderness and nobody knows about it, and
Yeah.
so it needs to be advertised for, saying you've searched for this, go
Yeah.
here, or get on a number of other forums and say, hey, there's a thing here, go there, have a look.
Right.
So
But
it needs,
is that a good use of, because we're trying to figure out the gap time, what to do with the gap time until we
it's
have the actual
well,
platform.
I'm kind of spinning my heels here.
Yeah. That's bad use of time, and
Yeah,
we need to remedy
yeah,
that.
and it is the question would be if a whole bunch of people turn up on Discord. Previously, we've been talking about external draws on time. Uh,
That's right. Yep.
that so a whole bunch of people turning up on Discord. If we're not present, then it's like, that's not going to work. Um, I think maybe we need to move into a kind of marketing or market test mode where we're saying this thing is coming.
Yeah. Like even if you just had people signing up, like we could even charge their credit card
Well,
because
then, we wouldn't go that far.
No, no. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
you can charge them, and then be like, "Oh, look, sorry. Plus, we're going to give you like $500 worth of credits because we messed you around." Like, it's not. It's like, do we have a strong enough message that someone would actually think that it was a purchasable thing? Like, sure, it's a little bit. Well, it's a lot grey to take people's money off them. But if you gave it back to them and then gave them extra for their inconvenience, and later on gave them exactly the thing they were trying to buy anyway, is it bad? When all you're really trying to ask is, does the market, have we actually got what the market needs, or do we need to keep on working?
Well, there's two parts there, isn't there? Do we have what the market needs, and how do we tell people about it?
Well,
To
forget the
tell
second
people,
one then. Just focus on the first one. How do
the
we
first
know
one,
that we have what the market needs?
I think we certainly don't ask them for the credit card, but we ask them for engagement and
Engagement.
contribution. Yeah.
And how
So
would we do that?
if you sign up for this, you're contributing to the birth of this system.
Nah, I don't want people that came for that reason. I want people who came to just use it for their own reasons. They just wanted, they didn't care about, we're going to make the next great thing. They just wanted it for them. Our
Well,
economic
that's
proposition needs to be purely of benefit to the selfish individual.
well, that is well, there's yeah, as you say, one of the tests is to get a test payment, because people talk a lot, but when you ask them for money,
I know,
it
yeah.
stops.
So
So
like
this
it
is
could
this
just,
this
it
is
could just be
marketing, right?
taking, it
This
could
is
just
marketing.
be taking a deposit and being like, you know, if you give us a
Um,
deposit, then you're like number one in line.
a
You're gonna.
crowdfunding thing would
Nah, crowdfunding is painful and doesn't test the market. It
a,
simply tests the
a Patreon
investors.
thing. A Patreon thing
Patreons,
is like a
same deal.
low
We want
risk.
customers. We don't want support. We want customers. Customers are cold-hearted mother fluffers. They don't
Yeah.
care about. They just care
So
about
how are we
themselves.
gonna? How are we gonna?
Is this the right question to be asking, by the way?
No. This is a great question. Because I think we're at the point now of actually having something to offer.
I know. I think that
Um,
I think that having this context diagram, the legal layer completed, means that, and I use the word completed loosely. I mean that
yeah.
it is what's a better way to describe it is completable. So
Yes. It's
yeah,
tractable. Yeah. Yeah.
you've nailed it down, and you're gonna get there. So, but given that we have that, we can now zoom back out and get the messaging right in a way that's simple, broad, fuzzy, emotional, and doesn't compromise the inner workings. Because we didn't before, we had no way to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, we couldn't dilate the message in any way because we didn't know, it was probably wrong. We're like, we don't even know what the hell it should
Yeah.
be, but now we do, and now it's time to say, well, you can talk about different aspects of this in different ways that get different responses from the market, and we need to know, and we need to be able to prove to someone,
Yeah.
because if we put our hand out and be like, hey, we need 100K because we're gonna like make this next iteration, here's the proof that we're heading down the right track, is what I really want.
Yeah. Because we're assuming our assertions are in that format makes sense.
Yeah.
The LLMs are going to be there,
All right.
and lovely stuff is going to happen. And so we're wrapping up
So, Mr.
the.
Maxwell, can I, may I
Oh, yeah.
have the talking stick?
I,
Because
I, 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 I interrupt you so often that it's on flag.
my talking stick credits should be through the roof. It'd be funny if that was like a counter, that it was a physical VR object that every time you interrupted, it like gave me an extra coin, or and you could It was
You know
like,
what? That's when I'm transcribing these conversations
yeah,
into a meeting bot. The one thing it really gets in a fuddle with is when we talk over each other. So
yeah,
actually,
yeah, yeah.
that's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun to have a meeting like that because you should be able to interject. So what I'm interjecting with is to say that there are actually several key dimensions that we think the market wants, and we don't know the messaging for each dimension, and we don't know the veracity or the ferocity, how ferocious each dimension is. And the dimensions, as I see them, are number one, the NAT package format for being able to talk to, for being able to have agents that can consume your code. Number
Yep.
two is the serverless function environment that the NAPs unlock. Like, is it actually a developer pain point to be able to have a unit of cloud computing that was portable amongst different providers? Number three is it important that you can have NAPs in multiple languages communicating with each other fairly seamlessly to enable like multi-language NAPs? Is the portability of an agent, are portable agents actually a market, a zeitgeist or a movement that we need to get in on? Does it matter that it's a blockchain? Um, those are just six of the dimensions that I think are pretty different, reasonably different. That we could do little test marketing campaigns and see which one bites our hand off.
So on the marketing campaigns to prove the assertion, I agree. Um, and there's various channels we can do that. That's
Yeah,
fine. Um,
yeah. Like we don't
the
even. Yeah, we only
yeah,
care about signal and relative strength of signal. We actually don't care about much else on those channels.
exactly. Now, the interesting thing is when you put a marketing test up, you have an idea of who the user is. The user in this case is different. Well, there's multiple ones, but they can move around
The real
habits.
different name, the real
Yeah.
different, and that's what I want to. Well, that's why I want to hone in on this because it means that we're trying to address different people, and we should be clear about that because we should really pick one and go with them the most. But which group is that?
Well, also, as designed in, you can move from, someone, a dev prompt engineer, wherever in the world, to a funder, to a consumer. Um, it's just, you can also be in different gateways, and the gateways need to interact and so on. And so there's quite a few interactions there. The constituencies that we need to talk to are different. Now, your question is, I think, which is the most important ones? Who do we need to test? I think. Is that what you're just saying? I mean, what do we need to learn about the market, the real world, in terms of all
Which
this
one? Which one?
nothingness?
Yeah, which one's
Well,
actually king?
well, yeah, exactly. For example, are we marketing to devs? Are we marketing to startups who know nothing about devs and
Mm.
think
Yeah,
development
because
is
like
just a cost center?
if you just look at the special education sector, then what it seems like the best thing we could ever do for them is to make a platform by which all these individual little projects can have some identity at very low cost and be able to collaborate with one another um, in a way that, like it just seems all these projects are falling over each other. The sort of,
Yeah. Collaboration is a big thing
yeah,
with the local authorities, certainly in the UK.
yeah.
Um,
And so, like,
uh,
there's no real mechanism for all these different projects. And then, like, I know what's happening as soon as it smells like money, the money just kills the project because everyone who's not had experience with having money or having fights over money, funny how those things go together, ends up just sort of squabbling over shareholdings and ownership, and they kind of get bedazzled by the prospect of money, that they lose sight of the platonic ideal, which is shared between all the projects, which is how do we deliver effective health outcomes for, or education outcomes for these
Yeah.
people who can't
Yeah.
help themselves
Yeah.
or can't defend themselves, right? And that's the
Uh,
core thing, and it's being
that
lost.
is that is the key concept that's certainly been going round my brain like a hairy worm. Is in the outcomes for the people who could use the system. What do they care about? Uh, if you are a local authority, you don't care about a JSON format. You probably never heard of
You don't
JSON.
give two hoots, yeah.
Um,
But
yeah,
well, no, hang
etc.
on, hang on,
etc.
hang on. That's not entirely true either, because I recall when I was in Spokane, Washington,
Yeah.
that we were talking to a council there, and one of their IT guys tried to bite our arm off for the fact that we could communicate between databases.
Ah, now that's a different thing. The discussion there was probably about something else, and the IT guy was sitting on to one side with his latte, and then interjected. The important thing there is we have a good answer at that point, which leads to the kind of static website is not the way to go, because we don't know who's
All right,
asking.
yeah, yeah.
But
I'm not.
yeah,
I'm really asking about. We need to do some experiments on the market, and I don't
I
care
think
how
I
those
think
get
we're
done.
yeah I think we're going into solutioneering on the marketing, but
Sure,
basically the
sure.
gap is we assume that NAP and etc. Everything we've done
Yeah.
on Dreamcatcher is
So
good.
I'm gonna have to
What do
go in
we?
like 5 minutes too.
Yeah.
By the way.
What the gap of my time is how do we test that in the market?
Yeah, unless you can think of a better way to spend your time, because I can't.
Well, the only other thing is actually use the thing on the CRM and get paid. But thanks
Right,
to
but
Mr. Trump, that's maybe less of a pressure. Um,
the 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 thing is, there's still a delay between when I can get the code up and running anyway. So it's sort of
yeah. But also, you again, with all due respect, sir, and this is not ironic at all. Um, 1 to 3 weeks might be 1 to 3 months.
that's what I
You don't
mean.
know.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting
Yeah,
at. That's why this is a
yeah,
problem, because it's like, well, we don't have the platform. So what do
yeah.
we do? What's the best way to prepare for it?
I think it's I think it's well, it's what we've been talking about. Finding real people who preferably haven't been pre-pepped by me saying, "Oh,
Yeah, but
Dreamcatcher, Dreamcatcher,
it's
Dreamcatcher."
also like
See if anyone turns up.
which dimensions do we care about? How do we go about? First of all, we need to define our dimensions. Like, what are the what would you call them, marketing dimensions, or what feature dimensions, or what segments? Sorry, what market
Segments, yeah,
segments
yeah.
are actually, do we have the ability to service? So we'd look at that first, and then we'd say which ones of those are likely to benefit most from the Dreamcatcher company policies, which is this ambient attribution record keeping thing, right? Because, the guy who's an IT admin for a council in Spokane, Washington, is not going to really be that much into Dreamcatcher attribution, because
Eh.
he's
No,
like,
he's gonna
nah,
hate
man.
that. He's
Yeah,
gonna hate that.
well, it's a
Yeah,
complication, right? And so
yeah.
I think that, like, probably most of our segments can be discarded or voided through reasoning through which one is best for the Dreamcatcher. But we need to do that exercise. We need to go through and figure out the features of what the JSON platform actually provides, and then of those segments that it can service, we need to pick the ones that are most suited to the Dreamcatcher. Because
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
yeah,
And by the I figured out what the JSON platform provides. I'm black boxing that into any package management system, any programming language, any API, um, any virtual interface where two systems talk to each other is, just done.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
uh,
and so that
be-
that actually can point the way to additional products that are needed. Like you might need a system bus to be able to make the
yeah,
communication between, like
sure, but
this is gonna shake out something that we have to make.
yeah, but the thing I was pointing at is I black box that and start thinking about who's going to care, um, but
Yeah,
without architecting into your realm.
yeah, that's right, because
Um,
we got to start from the outside coming back in now,
yeah,
and then we got to like get some data, test it, you know. um all right, well look, I better run, but
yeah, no worries. I'll
I think this is definitely the right question to ask, is in this unknown gap period, what is the best use of time for us? That's definitely the question to be asking.
Yeah, and I think the approach to answering that is twofold. The first one is I'm a big believer in traceability, as in one actual use case all the way through, and the second is in the kind of broad interest.
Yeah, figuring out the interest, man. That's got to be the thing we do. Okay, well, why don't we leave it there and keep poking at that? When's your next available time?
Tomorrow is good.
Are you sure it's good? Not the day after?
Uh,
Like because if I
no,
burn
I
that
think it's
time,
good.
then I gotta. That's
Um,
like I got other stuff I could be
I
doing,
see
right?
what you're saying. Thinking time, as in
Well,
doing time, or there's
are you gonna be there, or is it sort of better if we just wait till the day after, because I'm I have other things that I could do in the meantime.
right. It would be probably more productive if actually um, action some of this and get a
Okay.
result.
Okay.
And so, yeah,
All right. So
Tuesday,
I'll check back in on Tuesday. Do you know what time?
um, probably about the same. I'm trying to get it earlier and earlier, but Jude's on shifts, which is really awkward in
Yeah,
terms
but
of
no one
figuring out.
ahead of time, right?
Yeah, I just don't have. Let me send you over. Let's get that calendar set up. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Let's get that going, and then give me a guaranteed day that's either like sometime in the next 3 days,
Yeah,
and then I'll book
yeah,
that in, and then I'll schedule my life around that, and then
yeah. Because it's late as fuck where you are, and early as fuck is where I'm at.
yeah,
We couldn't possibly pick worse places to try and collaborate.
we could not. I'll tell you what's funny though, buddy, is that whenever I've sort of used O1 or anything to sort of try and say, well, what's the best place to start a business or register a company that suits this Dreamcatcher format, consistently it comes back with UK and then New Zealand.
Really,
Yeah,
that's curious.
yeah. It's like the company formation environment of both these two countries seem to be the best suited for what we're doing.
That is really interesting.
It's odd. That
It
and
is.
Delaware. That and Delaware.
Yeah, but everyone knows about Delaware.
Mm.
UK. Oh,
Because it's
yeah.
cheap, dude. In both these, New Zealand and the UK is relative to the rest of the world, quite cheap.
And they've basically, I mean, New Zealand is basically a fork of the UK
Yeah, that's what we did.
legally, in terms of legal structure and organization, and
Yeah,
has a similar level of stability.
maybe
So I
more.
guess, yeah. Huh. Okay. That's really curious.
Yeah, it's odd, right?
Right. So do you want me to get some summaries over for you to read, or are you just going to take my assertion that this is cool at the real world layer? I've not delved into um, mapping the same kind of definitions inside of Dreamcatcher, but I have expressed it as properties.
That's cool, man. I'd love to see some summaries, and I'd love
Yeah,
to
cool.
see the finished documents that we can then
And then
review and publish.
some blog posts based on the different market segments. So the next thing would be to identify who we're
Yeah, what are the
talking to
segments?
and what
Yeah,
they would like to hear,
yeah,
and then
that's
we
right.
just and then we find out a way to test that. Okay, all right,
That would be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Um, the world's worst marketeer is about to try and market the best idea that I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, okay, all right, give it a go.
Like I said, if you can come up with a better way to use the gap time, then it might be fundraising is a better way to use the gap time.
Well,
It
to
might
be
be
honest,
having a
the
holiday. I don't know.
well, the thing I'm really keen to do is to test this idea on real people.
Yeah,
And in order to get real people, we need to find those real people.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, that is the plan. But I'll send you over. Also, I'll commit what I've got here, the definitions and
Oh,
so
that'd
on.
be awesome. Yeah, yeah. Show me what you got.
Sorry, I haven't done that. I tend to be a bit slack on the commit. Uh, so you see everything I've
Yeah,
done.
that helps a
Um,
lot to be able to see that.
Yeah. Is there, in terms of the platform, as you see up on the screen there, I've been using the playground. If I was to recreate this, which would be dead easy inside of long threat, um, is that going to be, problematic in terms of you needing to wipe it and so on?
No, I'm
Or
not touching it. So go for your life. It's stable now.
all right, okay, cool. I'll send you over then a bunch of
But
URLs with.
well, it'll be better to have actual markdown documents in Git.
Yeah, okay.
That would be
Yeah,
much better.
yeah.
Because
That's easy enough, isn't it?
yeah, then it's like recorded history.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.